emotions about everything that's transpired. Shannon, I listened to the last segment, and you mentioned cause and effect. And there's a cause and effect to everything. And what ties people to either the cause or either the effect is their relationship. And my relationship in this has been not only that I'm a Black man and I've been on the end of racial profiling as a Black man, but now my wife's business is in harm's way because of the effect of the cause that we visibly were able to see from law enforcement with George in regards to George Floyd. And so I was raised as an individual, as a young man, to learn how to put out fires, but at the same time, how to prevent a fire. And in the midst of where fires were spreading and just kind of bursting everywhere on the scene, I felt like I was one that wanted to prevent the fire from happening versus having to respond and by putting it out. And that was what I was doing with my wife's store, along with a couple other gentlemen that manned the store with me. And it's been an interesting dynamic because from an outside perspective and seeing Stack and communicating with Stack and Steven Jackson through text message and taking my daughters, my older two daughters, along with my wife down to the Justice Rally in honor of George Floyd and having them experience it and just seeing their emotions and their response, I felt like it was something that unfortunately is needed. And the response that has come of it, whatever way people have decided to respond, it was needed for them. Not that I'm in agreement with some of the arson and the vandalism and the looting, but I will say this. I had to ask myself this question this morning. Am I more upset and bothered by the arson and the looting and the acts of vandalism or by the murder? And for me, I have to remain with my eyes on that, and that's the murder, because that's the cause. That's the reason why people are showing their emotion and they're acting out in whatever way that they feel that they need to in this moment, and I have to respect that.
And I think that's the biggest thing, Greg, when I'm hearing you, and I get it. I totally get it. Like you said, I mean, that's home for you. But for me, when I look at it, I'm like, hold on. And we see a lot of this. Yeah, that was bad how they did George, and he shouldn't have died like that. But what does that building have to do? What does looting have to do? But when you get so upset, and you've been upset as long as Black America has been upset, you lose. It's like you go dark and you throw caution to the wind. You like, I've been living and burning in hell. They've been looting. If you look at the two biggest looting happen in the last 15 years, the recession, when they bailed out big business, they looted America. And this last stimulus package, $1.5 trillion, $2 trillion, that none of it got to small minority Black businesses. We got a $1,200 stimulus check, and there are some corporations that got $3 billion. That's the looting of America. But Greg, so let me ask you a question. So when you go down there, are you standing out front and you saying, bro, this is a Black-owned business, man. Don't bother this, man. I'm sorry for the pain that you're going through, because that's what happened a lot in Atlanta in 1992 with the Rodney King. A lot of Black-owned businesses put Black-owned or stood out in front of their business, and they were unharmed.
We did. You know, immediately I told my wife to print up some signs, Black-owned business. But at the same time, I felt like we needed to do more. We needed to make sure that the community and those who were directly impacted knew that we were standing with them too. So we wanted to put something to honor George Floyd. So we put both signs side by side. But yeah, I stood outside her building, but I also at night, I stood inside because one of the things that I wanted to make sure people understood, and those who were with me, who I decided to come down